All right. Well, good morning. I'm Tim Damon with the Lansing Regional Chamber of Commerce, and thank you all for joining us this morning. There's a lot of certainly a lot of interest, I think, on the corridor here, not only from economic development and placemaking, and certainly the rebuild, as we call it, of the avenues. We appreciate Andy Kilpatrick and Christopher Mumby taking some time to be with us this morning. We're doing this program in partnership with Michigan Avenue Corridor Improvement Authority Board. I know there are several board members, that are on the call with us this morning, and then also obviously with the City of Lansing, and then with Choose Lansing as well as partners. So again, I mentioned we're pleased to have Christopher Mumby. Christopher is the deputy mayor with the City of Lansing, and Andy Kilpatrick, and Andy is the director of public service with the City of Lansing. And I know I probably will get this wrong, but I think it's probably later this month we'll start that next phase of construction. And I think if anyone's had an opportunity to drive Michigan Avenue since it was reopened last fall, you can kind of see what that first phase and what that opportunities look like once this is completed, and something that we have there to kind of continue that momentum of some of that economic growth and development and placemaking opportunities. So we'll have a brief presentation here, I think, from Andy and Chris, and then we'll leave ample time for questions and answers. We'll probably go through just on protocol aspect. You know what? We can kind of go through the chat box, raise your hand, and we'll get through as many questions, if not all the questions that we can. So again, thank you for joining us this morning. I'm going to turn it over. I think Christopher is going to say a few words as well, and Christopher Mumby, Deputy Mayor for the City of Lansing. I'm going to kind of spotlight the speaker here as well. So
Thanks
Christopher?
very much, Tim. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we got you.
Great. We're very excited for year two of this project. The Michigan Avenue project is a $14 million improvement, and it includes signal modernization and utility upgrades. The new street will be reconfigured to be more pedestrian and bicycle friendly, and it's going to improve access to businesses and neighborhoods, and is a fantastic connection between the Capitol and the campus of Michigan State University. And we're very excited to begin the second and final year of the Michigan Avenue reconstruction this Monday, March 24th. Here with us today is Andy Kilpatrick, who's Lansing's Public Service Director, and he's going to share a lot more details. So I'm going to turn it right over to Andy, who has a presentation and lots of talking points.
All right, thanks, Christopher. And thanks, Tim, both on the chamber side and Corridor Improvement Authority, for this opportunity to present some information. And, hopefully we got some questions, some good questions here. As Christopher said, this project we've completed 1 year, so it's a 2-year project. Basically goes from 127 down to Pennsylvania Avenue. We completed half of it last year, and currently the contractor is scheduled to start on Monday, March 24th. So coming right up, we do have some message boards out there. We will have a public meeting that's still being finalized. I think the date may have switched a little bit. We were thinking it was going to be the 25th. Now it looks like it will be the 20th, but we will be mailing out to every business, every property owner actually along this corridor early next week on that public meeting. Hopefully for people that were along the corridor last year, they will know what to anticipate, whereas last year I think there were still some questions on design and phasing and everything else. So this is kind of just a repeat of last year. What I'll do is we have this on our website. There's a lot of information on the website, but hopefully this will work, and I will be able to share here. Screen, let's see if we get this.
There's quite a bit of people on this.
All right, so hopefully you guys can see that. This is the phasing map for this year. Dates are from last year, but we're right on schedule for these dates. So the first phase will be picking up where we left off last year, which was from Leslie. Kind of we're going east to west. So Leslie to basically Resurrection, Lathrop is our first phase, and that's up to about 4th of July. And then we'll be switching to the longer phase after the 4th. And so that goes basically from Resurrection all the way to the kind of west edge of the Sparrow Professional Building. So, and that is the extent of the water main work. So as far as, overall, the work we're doing, there is water main replacement. We have storm sewer replacement, and then we're going basically building face to building face. So this is an entire reconstruct, sidewalk, curb and gutter, the road, including the base on that. And then for better or worse, some of those street trees or all those street trees are coming out and going back in. A lot of those were sort of in the middle of the sidewalk and growing into buildings. So with this reconfiguration, we took out about 100 trees. We'll be putting 170 back in. Those will all go be put back in this fall, as well as kind of the final restoration we'll be doing. And then the final phase, which is less work and a quicker phase, is right in front of Sparrow. So there will be no water main work, no curb work. It's basically just a road project there. So that is just shy of a month in front of Sparrow. The other thing I should mention is that the traffic signals here will all be modernized. So we'll have new traffic signals, and those will all be equipped with audible pedestrian signals. So the locator tones, so people that are visually impaired will be able to find those, and it will, talk to them, let them know when it's safe to cross the particular road they're going across. The reconfiguration of this road, it was a 5-lane roadway. It's going down to 4 lanes, which may sound a little odd, but there will still be a center turn lane. There will be 2 lanes going westbound, kind of toward downtown, and 1 lane eastbound. There have been some concerns raised, and they are valid, that when there's a bus stopped there to pick up or discharge passengers, that at that point in time, traffic will have to stop behind the bus, but the signals are being timed to maximize the progression eastbound once this project is done. So that should have, minimal impact to people, and we'll work with CATA and, coordinate with our signals as we go through that. The other thing that we're doing here is, with the removal of one of those travel lanes, we're able to provide a cycle track. So that is a dedicated bike facility that will be adjacent to the sidewalk and is separated from traffic. That will be the entire stretch of this project. We'll have a bike facility. It will be primarily off-road, so with the cycle track. And then once you get towards the east, it'll be back on road the way it is now. So basically Kipling, Mifflin, we're about where that boulevard starts. To the east, that will be on road. And then to the west, to Pennsylvania, it will be off-road. The exception is for eastbound traffic in front of Sparrow. So from Penn to Holmes, that will be on road there, because we're not changing the configuration of the road. So we still will have the 5 lanes. So bikes will be back behind the curb and the trees and everything in front of Sparrow on the north side. They'll be in the road on the south side going eastbound. And then that whole middle section will be kind of separated from traffic. And then the other things to mention, CATA will still be providing service, but there will obviously be some detours for their service. And that is because in the middle stretch here, because of all the work we're doing, the road will be like Swiss cheese, and we cannot allow traffic to go through. So there will be a full detour, just like there was last year. The detour, the signed detour, is between Pennsylvania and Homer Howard using M43. So the Saginaw, Grand River, Oakland corridor to get around. We know that people will choose their own routes, and that's fine. We will have probably some additional enforcement from the police through there, because we don't want people cutting through and speeding through the neighborhoods and, blowing stop signs and everything else. So we will coordinate that. As far as business access will be preserved, at least to the extent possible. When they're, doing pipe work right in front of a driveway, then we can't maintain that access, but we will maintain it as much as we can. And we will be in contact with the business owners to coordinate that access, making sure that they have access for deliveries and parking lots. The kind of exception will be when we're doing sidewalk right in front of a front door. There will be several days where that concrete has to cure, and at that point in time, we can't maintain that access, but we will have alternate access at that point in time. Other business impacts will obviously be as if there is less traffic along this corridor because of the detours, there will be less traffic driving by these businesses. We are aware of that. We will help with signage to get people to the businesses. We can help with marketing. We can't help with payments to businesses, but we can help with materials, whether it's printed or electronic, that they can get out to their customers. And we're able to do kind of as much as possible with that information sharing and updates and minimizing the impact to the businesses. For project contacts, and this is also, if you go to the City of Lansing's construction website, our map there, you can click on any project and get project contacts, but the project engineer for this project is Dan Danke, and I can put it in the chat, but his contact, so phone number is 483-4461. Email is dan.danke, D-A-N-K-E, @lansingmi.gov. And then we will have a full-time inspector out there, and that's more for business emergent kind of issues that come up. And that will be when we send the letter out, the inspector's information will be there, and the inspector will be making contact with businesses when we're doing work in the area. There will be, just like last year, some water shutoffs, and so that will be coordinated in advance with the businesses to try and minimize that impact. So hopefully it will be nights or weekends or sometime when they have low water use or low need for that that water. We know that is an inconvenience, and we will try and do that as quickly as possible. Usually it's only a couple hours that's off while they connect to the new water main. There will be updates on our website, and there's already a lot of information on our website. We will be getting some FAQs and other things updated. So in the next couple of days, there'll be more information. But the phasing hasn't changed, and we don't know exact dates, but right now scheduled to start on March 24th, and we'll be getting more information. And then the opportunity when we have the public meeting, people can come and ask questions, and obviously can submit those to the city in advance. So we want to make sure that this is as positive a project as possible. We know there will be impacts and negative impacts anytime we do construction, especially something this significant where we're going basically building face to building face. There will be impacts, and we just want to work with the businesses and property owners and make sure we can, maximize access along this corridor. And that's really all I have for presentation. Whatever questions we have, I can try and answer those if I know right now. Otherwise, I can find answers and get those, back to people.
There's one in the chat already, Andy, which has to
Okay.
do with the east of this project, which you were going to mention.
Yes, I did not mention that. So yes, east of this project, the city did some road swaps with MDOT. So actually from Detroit, kind of in the middle of the boulevard there, right in front of Feldman, from there to the East Lansing city limits, we swapped that back with MDOT for some downtown roads, but we will be repaving kind of, I think, the worst section. So from basically 127 to the East Lansing city limits in conjunction with this project in the fall. I don't know exact date yet, but so that will be completely repaved, and we will be putting a traffic signal in at Clippard with a pedestrian crossing there. So yes, good question.
Andy, you had mentioned, and I may get this wrong, but the dedicated inspector, but you had given a name. If you could either one of two things, either drop it in that chat box, or if you just send that to me afterwards, and as a follow-up, we can get that out to everybody.
Yeah, I will send that to you. I don't have it right now because I'm not sure if it will be in the same inspector, but I will send that to you.
Fantastic. Other questions? If there are questions out there, let us know. We can do chat box or raise your hand, and we can call on you. It's a quiet group for Friday.
Tim, I'll also let you know if people are not on this corridor and don't get the direct mailing that we put out for that public meeting, we'll also be doing, and we'll be posting on social media, but I'll make sure you have that contact, information, the date and time and location. I know it will be at Foster Community Center. It'll be an evening meeting, kind of open house style, but I will get that date once it's confirmed from Parks and Recreation.
Sounds great. It looks like there's a question that popped up in here. Will the cycle track be painted, and if yes, when?
It will be at the end of the project. So the entire cycle track will not be painted. It will be signed, and then at the crossings, including driveways and street crossings, that part will be painted, but we're not planning to paint that green the entire way just because of maintenance costs. but it will be marked. And we also on the on-road bike facilities, those will have delineator posts there to have some sort of physical separation between the travel lane and the bike lane. We don't know for sure if those will be kind of permanent over the winter, or we'll have some screw-in ones so that we can remove those for snow plowing over the winter. But yes, there will be some delineator posts to have a physical separation. I think Lori had questions about plans in place. We will reach out to the businesses, see what they want. We've basically, as much as we can do is we can put names of businesses on our signs. We have kind of just generic signs that say all businesses open, but in general, we do not specifically sign to each individual business.
Looks like there's one other one in there. Will there be traffic one way each way eastbound during the fall?
So while the phase that they're working on, or the specific area they're working on, the road will be closed. Once it's paved, it will be open to traffic, but the detour will stay in place. There's a possibility that in front of Sparrow, since that is just road work and it doesn't go down, below the road surface, we may be able to maintain traffic during that phase. But the other phases, while they're working on a specific segment, that needs to be closed just because the road base will be gone, water main will be put in, and storm sewer work will be done. So there's really no way we can keep traffic through this corridor when that type of work is going on.
Hey, Andy, sorry, I want to be more specific. I was talking east of 127 going towards the East Lansing border.
Yes.
Because it's football season, people coming off the highway and stuff. Just wondering if there's on that piece specifically.
Yes, that we will be able to maintain traffic on the section east of 127. We don't have specific dates. Hopefully we can avoid football weekends for that. Again, that one is just a mill and resurface. So basically they'll be taking level of asphalt off and repaving it. So that will be fairly quick. It will be, we may be talking a couple weeks. There will be some sidewalk ramp work, and for the traffic signal, some foundations, but I'm not aware of any reason that traffic needs to be completely closed during that time. The Clippard intersection might be impacted a little bit, but as far as through traffic on Michigan Avenue, we should be able to maintain one lane each direction during that repaving.
Very good. Thank you.
And Andy did put in there, if I mentioned this, apologies mentioning it again, but he did put the project engineer name and contact information in the chat. So if you're interested in that, we'll also, when we do some follow-up from here, we can include that contact information as well. Another question in the chat: any plans to do anything about abandoned buildings on Michigan Avenue?
I'm sure the city has plans, but the Public Service Department that deals with the right-of-way does not. So we'll get the road back open as quickly as possible, and then hopefully there's some plans the city can have to kind of turn those over. My hope is, just as we had with Rio Town and in Old Town when we kind of did these big fixes, that it will encourage business to come along the corridor. So some of these, I know there are plans, and some of those pan out, some don't pan out. But my hope will be that as we set the stage here in the public space, that we'll have more investment on the corridor, and some of those vacant buildings or vacant lots will turn over, and we'll see some new development there.
Just kind of going down through the chat here. Steve Jappinga from our team did indicate on here, and that Senator Anthony had introduced legislation for financial assistance for businesses that are impacted by road construction. So there's a link to that bill if you're interested. And I know that Steve and our team and others are following that closely through the process. Lori, you kind of talked about, and I am too, and I did not mention this at the beginning, but I am a member of the Michigan Avenue Corridor Improvement Authority Board, and I know it's something that we talked a lot about last year. And Lori, I don't know, do you want to, I don't know if it's really a question in there, but is maybe much kind of framing that as just maybe kind of some awareness on that with the business open?
Yeah, I mean, we can do those signs for sure. And again, we're engineers, so we do kind of standard signs and may not think of certain things. So we're really open to suggestions, and we'll do as much as we can to help basically let folks know if the businesses are open, or even have specific maps that we put together for particular businesses to let folks know how best to get to those businesses during these specific phases.
Well, this project was highlighted during Mayor Shore's State of the City address last night. And he drew attention to the fact that he's encouraging all of us to make sure that we don't forget our friends on Michigan Avenue and patronize those businesses, because it will be you'll have to be very intentional to go to some of these businesses when the work is right in front of these businesses. So the city is going to do what we can to remind folks that they're open, and we want to patronize them to ensure that they stay around and survive painful construction for a beautiful end product, and are here for years to come.
So another question, I think, in that stretch of red cedar on that resurfacing, and it says with the transfer of that section, and I'm assuming it's that section there in front of the red cedar development of Michigan Avenue that you mentioned, does that mean all maintenance will also be MDOT responsibility?
I mean, technically, yes, but the city has a contract with MDOT to do maintenance on all state trunk lines, surface streets in the city of Lansing. So the city will still be doing the maintenance on that, just as we do for Oakland, Saginaw, MLK, Cedar Larch, the other trunk lines in the city of Lansing.
Great. Any other questions for either Chris or Andy? We appreciate both of you guys doing this. I think it's very helpful, and you know what, maybe it might be something as we get into the construction, maybe mid-construction update or something as well along the way here. But I think it's been very helpful, and I know I speak on behalf of a lot of people on this call, right, on the importance of this corridor, and getting through this summer project, but what the long term looks like, and making that connection with state capital, City of Lansing, East Lansing, MSU, healthcare, small business. It's all right here on this corridor. So again, thank you all for joining us this morning. We appreciate your time, and we'll follow up with follow-up email here, and probably have the recording on there as well. And we'll stay in touch with you. But again, enjoy your Friday. And one more time, go green.
Go White.
Go White.
There we